Hi, this is SLS16 for the Cure Game channel, and today what I'll do is I'll show you how to create a mission quickly, nothing very complex, and I'll just show you the basic stuff. I won't really show you scripting stuff, which is something you should probably figure out by yourself by reading one of the many tutorials out there. So what I'll show is simply how it works basically, nothing really advanced. So all you have to do is you go in single player and you go into the editor. There you have a couple of missions right now, mission map, and all you have to notice here is that I'm using combined operation, which means I have access to Chernorus, which is from Arma 2. I have Proving Ground, which is a map from PMC, a private military company, Shapur, which is from BAF, British Armed Force DLC. I have Tekistan, I have Zorgabad, which are both from Operation Arrowhead, and I have Desert, which is from Operation Arrowhead as well. So for the purpose of this, I'll simply go with Desert, because I don't want a long loading time. So first of all, that's what you see when you enter the editor. Essentially it's the map in 2D, and it's nothing really interesting, and that's where most people panic. So all you have to do is click the right mouse button, and then you can move the map around. And of course with mouse wheel or buttons on the keyboard you can zoom out, but in the desert there's not much to see really. And another thing you can do is you can click texture, and in this case, as you might notice, there's some texture. So in the desert it might not be the best map to see some variation, but you still can see some details. So that's pretty practical. Now it's very easy. All you have to do to begin with is you have your unit here selected. You can click F1 to choose that, and you double click. When you double click, you have that insert menu thing that appears. And now that might be scary because there's plenty of tab there, but don't worry, it's really simple. Essentially the side define which side the entity or unit will spawn will be. So in this case it will be blue 4. Now here you can choose the faction, because in blue 4 or up 4 there's multiple factions. So since we're in the desert, I'll take the US Army, and here you have a different class, and I'll take a man. You can take an armored vehicle or plenty of stuff, air and etc. So you have many choices there. Now control, that's whether that unit is playable or not playable. If I put it non-playable, it will be an AI. If I put it as player, that means when you start a mission it will be a player, so that will be you normally. But if I put it playable, what that means is that it can be the player in multiplayer, it can be one of the player, but it can also be a guy you switch to in single player, for example. So if you put it playable, that means your mission will allow players to choose this character, and the player, that will be usually the host, or depending how you set it. But to actually manage to test the mission in the editor, you need at least one player. So that will be you, that will be the unit you'll be using. Now what else can you set? You can set the rank of the unit. Now you can see that it goes from private to colonel, and essentially what this does, it's largely a kind of moral effect on the game. So if you have a bunch of colonel which are attacking enemy AI, the AI will be intimidated by the fact that there's so many colonel out there. On the other hand, what this will do is that they will prioritize the IS guy in the group. So if you're a colonel and everybody else is a private, it's very likely that as the AI spot each one of you, you'll prioritize a colonel in the bunch. So up to a certain point, that actually increase the difficulty of the unit on the battlefield. So usually what you do is you keep the rank low. You don't really need to put a kernel on the battlefield usually. And also what that means is that usually the most experienced player should probably play the IS rank, because he is much likely to get shot at more than the others, so he needs to have the proper behavior for his rank in a way. Okay, what else? Here you can choose a unit, so that means that's the role of your guy. Now of course in many multiplayer game setup, you can change you can probably take any weapon on the battlefield, but these are actually skin and preset in loadout. So that means that if you choose, for example, an automatic rifleman, that will give you a specific loadout. If you choose a grenadier, it will have another specific loadout. Now that game doesn't enforce that role, but at the same time, if you want to create a kind of realistic feel to the game, it's good to have a good diversity of guy, even though you might want to put some bugs so people can customize their loadout. But if you actually play with everybody stuck with the loadout that this preset set, it can be pretty fun. But of course this game allows you to really do whatever you want in the mission, so that's really not forced that you will keep that loadout. So it's really up to you. Now here you have initialization, and here you can put some script, but I won't do that because I don't know script like. Okay, but let's get back here. There's special here. What this means is if you put it none, that means the unit will be there, simply there. If you put it in cargo, if it's part of a group in which there's a vehicle, that means that unit will be inside the cargo of that vehicle. So example, if you start and there's a jeep, you'll be in the jeep, even though you're not the driver or you're not really the crew of the jeep. Okay, flying for men, for units which are infantry or vehicle, that's not really useful. But what that means is that if you have a air unit, example a plane or a chopper, it will be flying, as opposed to if you were just at none, then you'll be on the ground and you'll have to start up the engine, etc. So if you put flying, that means that your chopper will already be in the air floating, you know, with the engine on. Okay, and in formation, what that means is that even though you might deploy your guy all over the place in the editor, as they begin, they will be in formation with the officer of the group, well, the IS ranked guy. So essentially what that means is that no matter where you put it, they'll be in formation when you start. And if you did not have information, then they will be where you put them. So that means that if you don't want somebody to start in formation, you put it on none. But if you want them to start in formation, you put them in formation. It's that simple. Now, name essentially that's stuff you use when you do scripting mostly. You're not forced to name them, but that can be a good idea. For example, to call it S1, which means soldier 1, and usually script might refer to those guys as S1. That's why you call it S1, S2, S3, etc. So that's a good thing to do. Now the skill level, that's mostly for the AI. I don't think there's much influence on your guy, but yeah, that's pretty much something which define the ability of your AI, and you can set it for every single one of those guys. So it's up to you. Once again, description, not really useful. Your health and armor, that's how in bad shape you want your guy to be. So for example, it's mostly useful for vehicles, because it's rare that you will want your guy to start all messed up. And now fuel, that's another thing mostly for vehicle. I don't think humans need fuel, maybe food, but I don't think that's an issue yet. Ammunition, well, the less you put that, the less ammo your preset will have. So if you put it to the minimum, you might have one clip or two, and so that can lead your mission to be a little more stealthy, because everybody will have so little resources. So that's really some aspect that you can explore as you make the mission, and you can really do a lot of diversity in terms of mission and constraint in your mission, so it's pretty cool. Probability of presence. Essentially what that means is that if you put it to half, for example, there's one chance on two that this guy will be there or not, so you never know. That randomizes the mission up to a certain point, but that means that this specific unit you put might not be there all the time, but at the same time it might be there, or who knows. It's randomized. Azimuth, that's simply the orientation of your unit. That might be useful when you want to do stealthy mission where there's a sentry somewhere and you want him to look to a direction specifically, and that will allow your guys to sneak behind him, so that's pretty cool. And placement of radius, that's also very practical, because what it does is that it will randomize where it will be. For example, I'll put 20, and you'll see now my guy is there, and actually when you look around him there's a blue circle. That means that he will actually spawn in that radius, so that's something which can randomize a lot of missions. Okay, now I simply clicked OK, and as you can see now I have a guy there. And yeah, 51% chance of being there, so I'll put it to the maximum. So what you do is you click on him and you move him where you want it. So I'll put him close to that house there, which is an oil rig, and let's preview the mission. Okay, now as you can see I have an automatic rifleman, and I'm just by that oil rig. What else? And I have barely enough ammo. So as you can see, the restriction I put, they're there, and so that means that you can really make your mission stealthy, for example, by reducing the amount of ammo your guys have, or specifying what kind of unit they have. So that's a good start. Now let's get back to the editor. What you do is you click escape and you click abort, and then you're back to the editor. Alright, now I'll increase his ammo and I'll change the role. Let's make him a grenadier. There we go. As you can see, his loadout is totally different, and his appearance as well. So that really means you can customize the look and the feel of the game. Now many people ask how do you choose the loadout? Well, there's many ways, but this easy way will be that. What you do is you double click, you go into empty, and by the way, you might notice that once you put a player, you might notice that now there's more side to this insert unit thing, and you can see that now there's game logic and empty. So you go in empty, and in empty essentially what that does is that it will allow you to choose anything without any characters in it in a way. So a vehicle will be empty as opposed to have a crew in it. So that's how you essentially put empty stuff. But if you don't have a player, you cannot go into empty. So that's why you need a player as well. Now to have ammo or custom loadout, what you do is you go into ammo and you choose the unit, US basic weapon or whatever else you want. There, as you can see, there's a wide variety of stuff you can choose. So I'll choose US basic weapon, and now I'll put that on the map. Now let's zoom in. Now you can see that there's a US basic weapon crate in orange. Now let's see what it does. Now essentially my guys has been randomized spawn, and now is great. And that's how, up to a certain point, you customize your loadout. Now there's many different ways to customize your loadout, but that's the easiest way. That's the way you don't have to script or anything. That's a very simple and intuitive way to quickly make a mission without going into complex stuff. So now I have M16. Okay, now let's get back to the editor. Now what I did is I simply put one guy, but let's put another one. But first I'll remove the randomization of the spawning. Okay, now he's alone, but let's put another one. I'll put him further here. Okay, this guy is a grenadier, and let's see what it does. Essentially he's here, but I have no control over him, so there's no point to it really. So let's get back there and let's create a link between them. Now you switch to group, which you can click F2 or you can click on the right side of the interface. And what you do is you create a group by clicking on this guy, for example, and dragging to this other guy. Now you can see that there's a small blue line there, and that creates the group. That means that these two guys are linked and they are part of the same group. So let's go back in there. And actually he's higher ranked than me, but anyway, as you can see here in the center you have a small symbol that tells you that he's the squad leader. So now we're part of the same team. So what you can do now is to increase the size of your group, and usually as you add troops from the same side, for example an AT specialist, they'll be part of the group. And now you can see that this guy is linked to him by default. So now we're 3 guys in the group. But let's say that I don't want this guy to be the leader and I want my guy to be the leader. Now I'll increase his rank to lieutenant. And now you can see that the blue lines are going there. So my guy is now the leader. So this is how this game show you easily how well, who is the leader. But now it's really bothersome to add units one by one. So that's why this game actually contain many groups, preformed groups. So let's double click. Make sure that you have a group selected, and now you can see that you can choose the size, the side. I'll put a blue 4 and US Army, and I'll put infantry, and how about the weapon squad. There you go. But now you can see that they are actually part of a separate squad. So what I'll do is I'll link my leader to his leader, and now you can see that whoops, this leader, oh I messed up. Anyway, well, let's do that like that. Well, anyway, you can do all kind of squad like that, and let's link everybody. There you go. Nearly everybody is part of the squad. Like that. So now I'm part of a big squad. And this guy is the leader. But now I'm alone, and I want to make that multiplayer, even though there's no enemy yet. That's just a detail. And actually, if you save this as a multiplayer mission, there will be only one player. So how do you fix that? All you have to do is you do that. You double click on the guy you want to make playable, and you make him playable. Like that. And now let's see. In single player, the way playable work is that you can actually change character. So I'll click T, and from there I can switch to the squad leader, like that. But in multiplayer, what it will do is it will allow you to choose in the lobby different role. So the more playable character, the more players you can play with. Okay, let's get back to the editor. As you can see, it's pretty fast to go back, and it's pretty intuitive. So now you have a squad, but you want them to do something, because just putting a squad there in the middle of nowhere, that's pointless. So what you do is you select the leader, and then you click waypoints, which is F4, and what you do is you double click. Now here it tells you insert waypoint. So what I want is the squad to move there. Okay, but not only do I want them to move there, but I want them to move there in a certain fashion. So here you have different stuff like description. You can describe something on the waypoint. Example, I want this squad there. Spelling mistake included or not. Now combat mode, what that is it tells you if you want them to hold fire if they're being fired upon, if you want them to hold fire but not necessarily engage. You can also have them open fire but not really engage, so they'll just move there. Open fire but they won't pursue the enemy, or they can open fire and engage at will, which they will do. Formation, there's different formation. Now a good one for desert will be probably line. There you go. Now the speed tells you at which pace they will go there. For example, if you put limited, they will likely take their time. But if you put normal, they'll go a little faster, but not too much. And if you put full, that means they will literally run there. And they will be less careful in a way, so they'll simply rush the position. As for the behavior, careless, they will essentially be careless. They won't point their gun. They will simply move there, and even if you shoot them, maybe they might not react or something. Safe, they are nearly careless, but they will react, but they'll take it slow. Aware, they'll go fast, but they won't rush. But they are aware that there's a potential threat, so they, as soon as you engage them, they will react to it. Then there's combat, which they will take their time. They will cover each other. It will be really a great demonstration of tactical movement and everything. They will suppress the enemy, they will cover each other, wait for each one to reach a new position and move behind cover and everything. This is really what you want for a combat situation. Stealth, they will try to avoid being detected, and they will also use silence weapon. So if they have a silenced pistol, they won't use their M16, which is not silenced. They will use their stealthy weapon. So they will do everything to avoid the confrontation, and they will only engage if fired upon. So that's pretty much a mode you want for night mission or spec up stuff. Placement radius and completion radius. Well, placement radius, it's like the guy, you randomize where you want it to be. And completion radius, it actually helps you to define, you want your team to go there, but not necessarily there. It's more like in that zone, so you can make a larger area of completion. It's not just a single point on the map. Mostly useful for planes and choppers, and it's pretty practical. Timeout, that tells you how long before the thing ends and before it moves to the next waypoint. Here you can on-act. You can create script that will trigger other things when you reach that waypoint. And here you have more script line. Here you have the choice to make it appear only in cadet mode on easy, or you can make it appear all the time or never. So essentially what that does is that will make an indicator on your screen that this waypoint is there, so you'll see it visually, or you can decide not to show it at all. Now you can also click effect, and that's actually a kind of trigger that will activate itself once you reach it, and you can choose different type of event. So you can start music or plenty of stuff, really. It's up to you. So now I have one waypoint, and actually if you oh well, it's not set properly, but whatever. So that's what one waypoint, and what you do is you put another one if you want. That was a waypoint which was move, but as you can see here, there's plenty of other waypoints which actually create different reaction. For example, destroy, that will mean that your squad will attempt to put charge on a target. So you double click on a car, for example, and you click destroy, and they will try to blow it up. Get in, they will get in the vehicle. Seek and destroy, they'll seek and destroy enemy. And then when there's no more enemies around, they'll call it done. Join, that means that you can actually join another squad, and you just have to synchronize it, which I'll explain later. And then you join in lead, that means you'll become the leader. Get out, that means they will get out of the vehicle. Cycle, that will start over the waypoints. So that's really a waypoint you will want to use if you want to do an endless patrol, for example. Load, well, you load in the vehicle. Unload, same thing. We will unload. Transport, unload, that means only the passenger will get out. Hold, that means they will try to hold the position. Pretty simple. Sentry, that means they'll wait for another trigger before attacking. Guard, that means they will try to defend a position that you define. Talk, that means they'll start talking about stuff you want them to talk about. Scripted, not sure what it is. Get the nearest, that means they'll get inside a building or probably a vehicle. Not sure though. Dismiss, that means they will leave the squad. So that means that they'll do whatever they want. Well, they won't really leave the squad, but they'll act like whatever. So that's it for the waypoints. So if I do that and that, and then I'll create a cycle, then you have a patrol. So let's see the result.
Team, move 100 meters, 12 o'clock.
Now you can see in yellow in the center of my screen, might be a little hard to see, but there's the move order. So my squad is moving there.
Team,
it's right there.
Meters, 12 o'clock.
Now it's moving there to the other waypoint I put.
Team, move 50 meters, 12 o'clock.
Now going back there. Now of course that's a squad on aware, so they're going pretty fast. They don't
Team,
really mind.
50 meters, 7 o'clock.
Now I'm moving to the original
Team, move 100 meters, 12
position, and then there you go. So as you can see, they'll be turning in cycle endlessly, really. Okay, let's get back to the editor. So now that's how you create a patrol quickly. All you need is a group. You need to select the leader. You need to create a couple of waypoints, and you set the behavior you want them to have for each waypoint, because really you can change the behavior. So if you go through a zone which is dangerous, you can put it on combat situation or aware, and as opposed to if you think that zone is safe, you can make them go safe, you know. So you can really set the behavior of your AI for each single waypoint, and that's pretty cool. And if you want an endless patrol, you just create a cycle, a waypoint, and there you go. You will have a patrol. Now that's how you create a friendly patrol. But let's start to put some enemies there. Okay, so let's zoom out a little further. Now I'll create a group, and this time it will be up 4, and it'll be Pakistani Republican Militia, and let's make them a patrol. Now they're there. So all I have to do is I make a waypoint. First of all, I'll select them all and move them a little closer. I'll go back into the white texture thing, because you have a better sense of the topography of the territory. So I'll make them start behind that hill, and I'll tell them to move there. And how about seek and destroy? No, maybe not. Okay, move there. Open fire, engage at will, staggered column. Let's make them go full speed, and let's make them aware. This way they'll go there quickly. Alright. And I'll modify my original patrol. They'll be patrolling the pipes, and I'll put them in limited speed formation. Let's make them a column, which means they'll be one behind the other. And let's pull them on open fire and engage at will. Behavior, let's make them safe. This way they are unexpecting. They are not expecting. Now let's save the mission. When you begin, it's good to save the mission as user mission. So let's call that patrol. Okay. And now that save your game just for yourself in the context of the editor. It's not even single player there. What you need to do to save it to single player is you export it to single mission, and then you'll find it into your scenario. Otherwise you might want to export it to multiplayer mission, in which case you need to make sure that the characters you want to be playable are playable. So right now I have 2 of them, and if you're working with other people, you might want to send them by email to somebody, which is a nice option. But for the moment, let's just save that as a user mission. And now let's see what it does. Normally it should only be a patrol. As you can see, my squad leader is all casual. He thinks he's safe and everything. So let's act like him, to fit in, so that the other don't think we're hyper or something. And as you can see, there's not much cover in the desert. It's pretty empty. Oh, but maybe it's a little hard to see from here, but now I see some guy over there.
Contact. 8. Target that man.
Enemy man. 11 o'clock. Half a click.
Okay.
Target that man.
Now the action has begun.
11 o'clock. Enemy.
Now you can see that those insurgents all the way there are pretty fast. They're moving really fast.
Target that man. 10. Fine. Target that man. 2. 3. Target that man. Engaging. Man, it's history.
So just shooting them.
Copy. I'm on him. Engaging target.
Oh, my rocket launcher guy, yeah, he's pretty determined.
Hostile down. Scratch 1.
Okay. Well, that seemed pretty clear.
Okay, let's go.
I think all the enemy died, so that means the mission is over. But now you have a problem there, because the mission is not over, it's still running. So how do you make it end? Let's go ahead and set it up. Well, there's multiple ways to do it actually, but I think the most effective one is that you set up a trigger, which is F3, but you can click once again on the interface right side. And that trigger, you can actually set the zone of it. So let's make it 1 kilometer. by 1 kilometer, and let's make it a rectangle, and you don't really need an angle. Activation, let's make it up 4. And now you might think, why up 4? Well, that's because I think the most effective way to make a trigger activate is by your enemy not being there, meaning you killed them actually. So now the trigger activate when the up 4 is present, so you switch that to not present, and what that means is that as soon as you will have killed the enemy patrol, you will activate that trigger. Now you can set the type of trigger, which here I'll call it N number 1, and let's name it end. There you go. Text, let's make blah. Whatever text will appear there, and you can add other effect, and let's make it fade out kind of thing. Yeah, fade out like that. Okay, now you can see a flag here, and let's zoom out a little. Yeah, 1 kilometer was a little big, but you can see that now there's a blue square, and this is the size of your trigger. So as soon as there's no more enemies in that square, you will activate that trigger, which means it will end the mission. Now let's give it a try.
Team, move to house, 12 o'clock.
Okay. Taking my very slow patrol there. Like nothing will happen. Looking around. Checking the awesome rock of the desert. Oh wait, I see some movement over there. Oh, let's take a look. You can see the guy there. But my character don't seem motivated enough to spot them, which is something they do automatically usually. No.
Hostiles.
Okay, now we saw them.
Engage
Now we
them.
see them.
Man.
11 o'clock. Enemy man far.
Copy, I'm on him. Changing bags. He's down.
Okay, shooting those guys.
Covering, go.
Oh, where did my grenade go? Whoa, what's it on?
Target that man. Enemy man, front 200 meters. Enemy man, 11 o'clock, 200 meters.
Okay, we just need to kill them all quick.
4-3, target that man. 8-6, target that man. 11 o'clock, enemy man, far. Engaging. Engaging target. Target eliminated. Target eliminated. Go.
Okay, I think there's just one left.
He's down. Moving out.
This guy is really lucky. Okay, now from here I should get him. There you go. Well, as you can see, the mission finished, but I was holding space, which make it skipped. But the mission finished, so that means that now your mission has an end, which is something very important, because if it has no end, you might be staring at the wilderness without any enemies to shoot, so that will be boring. So now you have a kind of complete mission, and all you have to do really is to add more people to kill, like that, and then you can give them waypoints and whatever. But giving waypoints to all that those guys, that's pretty long. So one thing you might want to do sometime is, for example, I'll select my group here using unit and clicking and dragging. I'll just move that away. And what you might want to do is to do that. You copy with Control C and Control V, and as you can see, now I have multiple patrol. So what you can do essentially is to create a kind of path which is pretty random, and make them start at different place, and you just have to copy and paste everything, and then you can become you can make the mission huge, really. But at the same time, don't put so many enemies, because at some point it will become laggy, so you need to be pretty reasonable about what you put in there. But just with those principles I just explained in this tutorial, you should be able to make pretty fun mission already. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I think I'll make maybe one more tutorial about that. And if you guys would like to know some specific stuff without going into scripting, because I'm not a great scripter at this game, but I think just with that you should be able to make pretty good mission, and it's all about being creative about it. And yeah, that's it. So I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something, and I hope I wasn't too confusing for you though. Anyway, see you.